Hello, my name is Dr. Carol Bond, and I am the Program Manager of Management and Change at the College of Business and Law at RMIT University. Today, I'm going to tell you a bit about the Bachelor of Business with a major in Management and Change. During my presentation, which will take about 20 minutes, we'll go over the major, and then I will hand over to a panel of experts who will talk to you about studying the Bachelor of Business with a major in People and Organization, otherwise known as Human Resource Management. Our business programs are world-renowned and allow students to work across a variety of disciplines to replicate a real-world experience that they will need once they start their careers. At the end of my presentation and the panel discussion, there will be an opportunity to ask some questions in the chat during the last 10 minutes of the session. Along the way, if you have questions, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge the people of the Woiwurrung and Boonwurrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nations on whose unceded lands we conduct the business of the university. RMIT respectfully acknowledges their ancestors and elders, past, present, and emerging. And while we conduct our work remotely, I want to pay my respect to the wider unceded lands of this nation. RMIT is committed to defining its relationship and working with and supporting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander self-determination. The university's goal is to achieve lasting transformation by maturing its values, culture, policy, and structures in a way that embeds reconciliation in everything we do. In line with the principles of Bunjil, we are changing our ways of knowing, working, and being to support sustainable reconciliation and activate a relationship between the Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff, students, and wider community. Okay, sorry, we had a little trouble with our video. So let's go on and talk about the new Bachelor of Business degree. You may have seen, as I have in my social media feeds over the last little while, that there's quite a exciting development that's happening at RMIT. RMIT has designed a new Bachelor of Business program, which is unlike anything that is offered in Melbourne or even Australia. Our Bachelor of Business degree gives you the option to decide how you want to study, what you want to study, and do it across a flexible series of choices. You can choose from our suite of majors and minors to specialize in your chosen field, but you can also take courses from across the university and broaden your knowledge across a range of fields. So let's go to the next slide and look at exactly what I mean by that. So the Bachelor of Business has a program structure where we give you a very strong foundation in your first year. You have 4 compulsory business foundation subjects that will prepare you for taking any course you want during your time with us at RMIT. But these four business foundation subjects is your gateway to success. After that, the direction you take is in your hands, and you can choose as many as 2 majors that you want to undertake or no majors at all. You can choose a major and 2 minors, or just focus on individual subjects and electives that interest you most. In your final year, all students will undertake a compulsory capstone subject, which will show you how to use what you've learned during your degree program and articulate that into the world of work. So the Bachelor of Business Professional Practice is also offered for the last intake in semester 1 of 2022. And it involves the same structure as the Bachelor of Business with an additional professional practice year. Next slide, please. So, Management and Change is a brand new major that we have built on work we've done before, but we have refreshed all of our courses so that it is absolutely 100% relevant to you today and will be continued to be relevant to the careers that you will enter at the end of your 3-year degree program. Management and Change has, I think, 8 courses: Work in Global Society, Organizations, Innovation Management, Strategy, Leadership, Organizational Experience, which is a workplace industry learning intensive, Managing Change, and Cross-Cultural Management. So this Management and Change major is a very carefully curated set of courses that is actually informed by research and is deeply supported by our industry partners. And it helps you integrate contemporary approaches to leadership, strategic management, sustainability, and diversity to cultivate high demand skills that will make you employable upon graduation. Next slide, please. So this is what the program structure looks like in practice. So if you think of the top row as your first year of study, the middle row as your second year of study, and the bottom row as your 3rd year of study, this is just one way of thinking about how to structure a Management and Change major and how it would work with your other choices across the university. So as I said, you have the 4 gateway courses, which is Global Business Ecosystems, Business Decision Making, Business and Society, and Integrated Perspectives on Business Problems. Importantly, and in keeping with the commitment to reconciliation, Business and Society will have a very strong Indigenous component to it so that you will understand how to live and work as a member of the larger community, RMIT community that has partnered with our Aboriginal communities. Once you finish your 4 gateway courses, then you can begin to undertake your Management and Change major. So your 2nd semester, you would take Work in Global Society, Organizations, Innovation Management, and Strategy, and that's your 1st year done. Your 2nd year, you'll finish your Management and Change major, which is Leadership, Organizational Experience, Managing Change, and Cross-Cultural Management. Taking these courses in this particular order is highly recommended because the courses from the 1st year will give you the skills to do even better in your 2nd year. Once you're done with that major, you can choose a 2nd major, and you have room at the end, towards the end of your degree program, your 3rd year, to take electives across the university. You might want to take a course in engineering or law or one of the sciences. You might want to look at textiles or fashion. There's a wide range of things you can look at, including construction and property management. So by the time you've got to your 3rd year and you've done your 2 majors, you'll have an idea what kind of job you want to do, and you can take majors that will help give you that extra added kind of industry inside knowledge that you can use to then articulate into your career of choice. Next slide, please. Great. So the majors you can choose from are on this slide. I will go ahead and read them out. We have Accountancy, Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Enterprise, Blockchain-Enabled Business, Finance, Logistics and Supply Chain, Business Information Systems, Financial Planning, Management and Change, which of course is the one that I'm program manager of. Then we have Business and Technology, Global Business, Marketing, Economics, People and Organization, which you'll hear about a little bit later, and Social Impact. So all of these majors are really interesting, and if you want more information about that, that's something we can probably share during the Q&A period so that you know exactly where to go to look and see which ones might be right for you. Next slide, please. Now, I won't read these out because that's a lot. So we have about 35 different minors. Now, and a minor means you take 4 courses in a particular subject. So you might decide the majors don't allow enough flexibility. You don't necessarily want to do another major, but you can do a minor in one of those subjects or a host of other ones. right? And that gives you a really solid foundation of basis on which you can add to your CV or your resume and say, listen, I'm really good at business analytics, and I'm really good at marketing, for example. You could say I can do that. So instead of second half of year 2, you do one minor, and the first half of year 3, you do another minor. And that could be a way for you to build diversity into your portfolio. Next slide, please. Now, there are entry requirements. So many of you will know about the HRM system. And for the Bachelor of Business, you have to successfully complete an Australian Year 12 or equivalent qualification, and we'll have a guaranteed offer with an ATAR of 70. The prerequisites are units 3 and 4, a study score of at least 30 in English or at least 25 in English other than EAL, and so on. And then you see the similar study requirements and prerequisites. Now, the Bachelor of Business Management and Change is a new program, and we do not have a published ATAR from last year. However, this year RMIT is for the first time giving guaranteed offers. So for our new Bachelor of Business program, you will receive a guaranteed offer with an ATAR of 70 or over, or for a Bachelor of Business with an 80 and over for our Bachelor of Business Professional Practice. So you'll see on the screen, we also have prerequisite English scores for both of our programs, and we have pathways into our programs following the completion of a diploma or advanced diploma as well. If you have any specific admissions queries, please do post them in the Q&A, and our team of admissions experts are on hand to answer them. Now, if you do not meet the entry requirements to our programs, please don't worry. We do offer guaranteed pathways into our Bachelor of Business from a number of our vocational education programs, and all of these diploma programs have no ATAR requirements at all, with the associate degree having an opportunity for you to begin your studies and then articulate up into the Bachelor of Business program. So globally, in case we have anybody on the line from international, when travel and borders allow, we have a number of global opportunities that will be made available to our students. And that includes people who are domestic as well. So you will have an opportunity to travel to other universities and complete portions of your studies abroad, and that can be really exciting. Next slide, please. All right. So well, I said to you earlier that there's 2 different ways you can get started with the Bachelor of Business. You can do the Management and Change major, which is our new Bachelor of Business structure, which has the 2 majors and the minors and so on. But if you want a more traditional university experience, then we are offering for the last time, our last intake is semester 1 of 2022, our classic degree program, which has a first year that is completely mapped out for you, so you don't have to worry about making any choices at all. The first 8 courses is your gateway in. Then you take the second year, these commercial law, managing change, organization, and leadership and decision making with your electives. And then your third year, you take strategic management, creativity, cross-cultural management, and organizational experience. And then you can do a minor with this if you want. And then there's also the opportunity to do a program elective and university electives as well. All right, next slide, please. The Bachelor of Business Management, which is the classic degree program, has a slightly lower ATAR, so you have a guaranteed offer with an ATAR of 65, and the English language requirement still stands. I guess you're not going to have the opportunity to articulate into this program if you needed to start at a VE program level, because this won't be offered again in the classic management degree. So if you need to take a VE class before you get into the higher education courses, then you'll be directed to the Bachelor of Business Management and Change. Okay, next slide, please. One of the most exciting things I love about our university and about our degree program is how industry focused RMIT is. RMIT has always been an industry focused university ever since it was founded in the 1860s. So across a number of your courses, you will be working on industry projects and work related projects and problem solving. I am actually the the course coordinator for organizational experience, and I have all 260 of my students working with an industry partner. It's a very exciting, very dynamic experience, and the students absolutely love it because they come out of the class knowing exactly how to apply their knowledge and learning to a real world case study. Part of our industry connections means you can take part in local and overseas work placements. You can be part of the Fast Track Innovation Challenge, which is a way, it's like a startup boot camp. And then you work with mentors to develop and present a solution to a real problem, which then can be, you can develop the intellectual property or the IP and launch a business out of that, which is absolutely fantastic. And the other opportunity you have is working with RMIT's Job Shop. You can take up a position for 1 or 2 days per week for 1 semester through the business internship electives. So those are some extremely exciting opportunities that RMIT has sourced for its students and will make available to you if you decide to study with us. Next slide, please. Our guaranteed business partners, this is not a complete list by any means, but these are names you might have heard of. So we work with ANZ, Adobe, Amazon Web Services, IKEA, EY, which is Ernst & Young, Tonic 15, the Australian Red Cross, Luminact, DHL, NDIS, and Luminary, among others. So we partner with real firms, not just small mom and pop shops, although those are also very, very important. But we are giving you real industry experience with name brand companies. Next slide, please. Okay, so we also have industry projects available for you to work on, where sometimes an industry partner will come to us and say, listen, we need help thinking about a problem from the perspective of a younger market demographic. And we can work with our industry partners to develop opportunities for you to concentrate on solving real industry problems and build your portfolio of achievements and experience. You're going to gain experience through the capstone subjects was part of the management and change. So that's the last course you're going to take, and you will have graduated with highly sought after skills. Next slide, please. Okay, so going back to talking about global opportunities, you can see that RMIT has partnerships with over 200 universities around the world. So in case you have the urge to go to Germany or Indonesia or South Africa or Brazil or Canada to study, RMIT can make that possible through our global experience, I guess, initiatives, and that can be really exciting. So if you once COVID is kind of over, when you're feeling like traveling the world again and seeing how you can make yourself a global business person, we have the way to help you do that, and that can be part of like the electives you do as part of the management and change major. Next slide, please. So our graduates have found employment across a diverse range of professional, commercial, industrial, and not-for-profit organizations. So basically, the world is your oyster. Whatever you want to do after you graduate from RMIT, I promise you, you can get a job in the sector of your choice. Walking around the CBD, when I hear people talk about RMIT, my ears perk up a little bit, and I listen and hear what people are saying, and I hear business people saying all the time, oh, RMIT has the best graduates. I always like hiring RMIT graduates because they know how to get the job done. So there's an incredible brand awareness of RMIT, and there's incredible awareness that the wider business community understands RMIT students and graduates bring value to the workplace. Next slide, please. So there are some important dates for you to be aware of. So orientation for semester 1 of 2022 is the week of 21st February, and then classes begin the following week. And the last day to enroll for semester 1 is at the end of the beginning of week 2. So you do have to get yourself a little bit organized because we don't want too much time to pass and you to miss class as you sort out your schedule the first time. But as you know, I said earlier, we know which 4 classes you're going to take if you do the management and change major, but you do need to, clear your work schedule, make sure that you have support at home so that you're free to study and go to school. We are working in a hybrid way. We are teaching both face-to-face and online, depending on what the situation is. So you can get started. You don't have to wait until everything gets back to so-called normal. We are here and ready to help you make the most of the opportunities at this time in your life. Next slide, please. All right. For more information about studying a major in management and change, please check out the information available on our website. And I'd like to thank you for your time and for listening to my presentation today. And now I'd like to introduce the next panel of speakers who will talk about studying a major in people and organization, otherwise known as human resource management at RMIT. And the next speaker is Dr. Marco De Santis. Marco, you're on mute.
Yes. Thank you, Carol, for your for the insightful, of course, and inspiring presentation. As you mentioned, my name is Dr. Marco De Santis, and I'm the course coordinator of human resource management within the HR undergraduate program. The characteristic of this subject is not only that it's of course a foundational subject for anyone interested in the HR discipline, but it's also a WIL course. So WIL course means work integrated learning course. And what does it mean? It means that in line with the strategy of RMIT and what Dr. Carol mentioned in her presentation, this subject is heavily focused on working together with several industry partners, where students, of course, are experience and are challenged in a sense of working on some of the HR issues that the industry partners are currently facing. So in this new session focused on people and organization major, we'll have a panel of experts. So in the next 20 minutes or so, we will have first Dr. Hein Kang, who will discuss the new people and organization major and show you the strength of the program. Second, I will go through career paths and opportunities of HR students and graduates. And lastly, Dr. Lina Wong will talk about career prospect from a human resource development perspective. If time allows, we'll also answer few of questions that we have from the audience. I know that some of these questions have been already answered. So our next speaker is Dr. Hein Kang. She is the Deputy Program Manager of the HR program, and she's also the course coordinator of International Human Resource Management. So I leave it to you, Dr. Hein.
Okay, thanks, Marco, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Hein Kang, the Program Manager of the Human Resource Management Program at RMIT. So as Marco mentioned, I will firstly talk about the program structure and also our people and organization major. So if you can see the slide as an example, no matter which major you are going to choose, you have to study 5 core courses. so which includes 4 business foundation courses plus 1 capstone course in the final year. So basically you can see the yellow ones in this slide. And then if assuming you are interested in doing a people and organization major, you then need to study 8 HR courses. So which including human resource management, employment relations, work health, safety and well-being, negotiation and conflict resolution, human resource development, and professional practice in HRM and industry relations. But for subject 7 and 8, you do have the options to choose 2 out of 4 courses. So including international human resource management, people analytics, managing change, and introduction to employment law. So these 8 courses will be under our people and organization major. So for the next 8 courses, you then can consider to choose a second business major. Alternatively, if you don't want to lock in one big major, you want to explore more options, more areas of interest, you can consider to do 2 different business minors instead. And finally, you still have 3 elective courses. So that means you can choose any course offered from the university. So you can choose something from social science, psychology. You can do some courses from art degrees. So this is all up to you, depending on your individual interests. So next slide, please. So in terms of our business majors, we often receive questions from students asking, okay, what will be a good combination to study with people and organization major? I think this question really depending on your personal interests and what kind of career path you are willing to pursue in the future. So our college actually offers a wide range of majors, 15 of them. So for example, if you believe learning some marketing knowledge will be beneficial for your HR career, you can choose marketing as your second major. So next slide, please. In terms of our minors, our college offers 35 different business minors. So again, I think really depending on your individual interests, if you don't want to really lock into one big major, you want to explore more areas, maybe you can choose something from information systems and maybe something from social impact to study together with our people and organization major. So next slide, please. So this part, I really want to mention or emphasize our key strength of our people and organization major. So I briefly summarized into 4 aspects. So first of all, it is very important to mention that our HR courses are accredited by the Australian Human Resource Institute. So being accredited means our courses have strong research base and industry-based curriculum to ensure a very good alignment between essential HR skills and knowledge. And second, our courses focus strong industry engagement. So as Marco mentioned earlier, we do have courses like work integrated learning courses and capstone courses. So basically, the industry partners and the course coordinators will co-design the assessments and the curriculums together. And the industry partners will also involve in, assessing students' work and providing their feedback to students. And by doing our people and organization, I think you are able to develop a number of important skills for you to be ready for the future of work. So for example, we do not have any written exams. Instead, we have authentic assessments. So for example, doing case studies, writing business report, doing simulations. So all these kind of assessments really enable you to develop critical thinking skill, independent research skill, and very importantly, the ability to solve real world problems. And also through group projects and presentation tasks, you are able to develop teamwork skill and presentation skills, which are all very important to HR practitioners. And finally, I also want to emphasize we do have our own HR student association. They often organize industry-related events so that you can often socialize or networking with industry people. But more importantly, this is a great platform for you to interact, learn, and support from each other and make better connection with not only peer students, but also with industry, alumni, and academic staff. So if you are interested to choose our people and organization major, we really recommend you to join this group. So that's all from me, and hand back to Marco, please. Thanks.
Thanks, Hein. Okay, as you can see in this slide, like on the left side, there are some titles like that you can find yourself working in once you graduated on people organization. So you can possibly become a human resource advisor or a human resource officer or learning and development officer, and so on. Now, when we think about career paths and future direction for the HR sector, quite often I found like two major concern or fears. And these one, first, the question of, could a robot replace our job? In other words, will HR be replaced by machines and become entirely automated? That's the first fear that people generally have. The second concern or fear is that, considering the outsourcing of that outsourcing practice that many companies are currently undertaking, the question is, will there be enough job opportunities in the HR field once you graduate? Or would it be better to become an engineer or IT expert rather than HR expert? Now, obviously, we cannot change or be absolutely sure about the future. And I'm not here to predict your future, but what we can do is to analyze the info that we have available at the moment and get ourselves ready for such future by making informed decisions. So in my role is probably provide you with more information, and then it's to inform and help you making that decision. Now, to answer the first concern, so the chance for HR to be automated, there is a very interesting link in the ABC News titled, "Could a Robot Do Your Job?" I encourage you to play with this. We'll link a website if you have time. It's an interesting link because this link shows you a forecast on how likely each job is to be replaced in the next 5 or 10 years, to be replaced by machines. And if you check that link, you will see that almost 90%, there are 90% chances that for some sector to be automated. These are, for example, manufacturing, health, banking system, farms, forestry. These are the most uncertain field. When you look at the HR and all role associated to HR, then the chance to be replaced are dramatically low, like less than 25%. So, for example, we have health and safety advisor that is at 25%, HR consultant 22%, HR manager 14%. That means lots of things. First, it means that there will be a huge necessity of roles that leverage distinctively human skills. So think about training and development, people and culture, organizational development specialists, innovation managers, change managers. So these roles, these skills, human skills, will be still in high demand and less likely to be automated. These also answer our second concern about the job, right? About the opportunity once you graduated in HR field. A second evidence was like a few days ago, I checked on Seek, like the advertisement, the number of job advertised in Seek. Now, what I found, at least as I said a few days ago, it was like a graduate position for marketing was approximately 500 in Victoria. Engineer, it's almost 1,000, and HR, it's 900. So as you see, that there is no like a very much difference if we want to use the example of engineer or IT, as I mentioned before. So this means as a graduate position only in Victoria, we have 900 advertisement. If we go for the managers, so for human resource managers, in Australia, like there are almost 5,000 job advertised, and in Victoria is probably 1,400, 1,500. So lots of demand for this kind of expertise, as I said before, human skills. So I guess this can give you a little bit more encouragement in making your decision. Now I pass to Dr. Lina Wong to go more in details on career prospect, as I mentioned before, from an human resource development point of view. Dr. Wong is not only an expert organizational psychologist, but she's also the course coordinator of human resource development subjects. So up to you, Lina.
Thank you, Marco, for the very nice introduction. Can I have my slides, please, on HRD? And yes, so as Marco said, I am Lina, and I'm part of the teaching team in the People and Organization program. And also I'm coordinating this particular course called Human Resource Development, or HRD, as we call it in short. So this course focuses on enabling organizations to develop capabilities of their employees. So really giving people training, development that allows them to perform better at their careers. And then I think Marco gave a really nice introduction about how HR jobs will not be easily automated. And I think this really links to HRD, because if you think of the future world of work, there's a lot of unknown knowledge and skills that we require employees to have. And we are still learning about those new requirements, new demands as we go each day. So HRD is the key crucial function that allows organizations to really upskill their employees and to deal with those changing demands. In terms of HRD, there are a few key areas of focus. So for instance, we will learn a lot about training and development within organizations, and the career prospect for this particular area, for instance, includes learning designers, so helping organizations to develop, design training programs. We could also be looking at trainers, facilitators, and this is especially good for students who really enjoy standing in front of people and teaching them new knowledge and skills. There's also the career prospect for program evaluators, because we really need to evaluate the impact, the effectiveness of those new training programs. And program evaluation, in a way, goes beyond an organizational boundary, because if you look at a lot of the intervention programs the government is putting together, like community capacity building kind of programs, you also need really good and rigorous evaluations on that. So I actually found some of my students able to work in the consultancies that provide those kind of program evaluation, very specialized skills. And HRD also includes other areas, for instance, OD, organizational development, which Marco mentioned. So we could be seeing our students working in the roles of OD consultant, OD specialist, either internal to the organization or sometimes as external consultants, and really helping organizations to develop their capabilities as a whole. And another focus of HRD is on career, and of course we need to really empower employees to take charge of their career and to move along their career journey, either within or beyond organizations. So we could be seeing our students working in the roles such as career counseling, career coaching, and really focus on that particular area of human development. So HRD is a very broad discipline, and we will be giving our students basically knowledge and skills to allow them to potentially work across a very wide range of fields, as I just briefly mentioned here. And hopefully this gives you a very quick overview into this course and into some of the potential career prospects. Thank you, and I'll pass back to Marco, please.
I'm just wondering if Marco's camera has frozen. So if that's okay, I'll take over from here. And look, thanks very much for listening to all of our guests who are here this morning. We really welcome this opportunity to speak to all of you. And we've got this link over here today. You're more than welcome to please put your chats in. And the one thing I'd like to reinforce, next slide, please, thank you, to all our listeners, is that everyone who's presented here this morning are actually experts in their fields. And you can see they've spoken very passionately about the way in which they are thinking about your futures. All the worries about whether our jobs are going to be taken over by robots, by automation, and anticipating what Dr. Marco De Santis was going to say, I am an engineer by training, and I've gone through quite a lot of career changes from going from manufacturing to information technology, and then now to teaching. So I'm more than happy to take your questions, please, if there's anyone who'd like to ask. And does anybody have any question, please? You can do one of two things. You can put the question to the chat window. Yes, that's right. And we've got a question over here. Can the bachelor degree be broken up into individual units or courses? Something similar to the grad certificate of HRM. And so I think if you take a look, although we've got this, the management structures, and we've given people over here who are discipline leaders, yes, you can. You can choose to do your major structure in particular fields of study, but something that Dr. Carol Bond mentioned this morning was that flexibility. Okay, so if you want to do if you want to cross into different disciplines and take on a multidisciplinary approach, part of the new bachelor degree here is to offer you that flexibility. So welcoming Marco back in, that's okay, Marco. I think you said a lot of good things about me. Your question and answer, and we're into question and answer, please. Now, so we're getting some really good questions in. Is there any question that you'd like to ask or direct to the panelists of experts here this morning? Okay, so I think Marco spoke very passionately about looking and connecting our students through to newspaper reports. We're active in scanning your horizons because Marco, I know Lena and Hein and Carol work very actively with your industry partners, and I think that Lena is very well published in your field. You're always involved in conferences, and Carol, you're doing quite a lot of work, and the students are benefiting from your partnership with the Future Fields Cooperative Research Center, and the students this year are, doing what's a consultancy report, partnering with the Future Fields CRC. Marco, what are some of your industry partners, please, whilst we wait for questions to come from our audience?
Yes, thanks, Keith, and apologize again. Like this is sometimes the tricky part of working with technology. Like always, when you don't want your internet connection somehow kick you out. Now, like talking about industries, I work with many of them, like with the HR subject in the last few years. I work with IKEA, I work with Schneider Electric, I work with Adecco, which is one of the leading recruitment agencies, not just in Australia, but also in the world, like especially in Europe. I work with Parasoft. So like I really, and now like currently my students are working on a challenge given by T2. And I work with them like in Singapore, in Melbourne, and Vietnam.
Thanks, Marco. So Carol, do you want to say something about the Future Fuel CRC? You're on mute, Carol.
Thanks very much, Keith, and thank you also, Marco, for sharing the workplace energy learning opportunities in the HRM program. So yes, I have been working with the Future Fuels Cooperative Research Center. It's a research and development organization that is actively helping the major energy companies around Australia to decarbonize their energy mix. So when you turn on your light switch and you want electricity, or you plug in your phone and you try to get it charged, or your laptop, or you want to make a pot of rice in your rice cooker, we don't often think about where does that electricity come from. But there's quite a lot of people around Australia, and indeed around the world, who are thinking about that. You may be aware of climate change and the need to get fossil fuels out of our energy mix. But that doesn't happen overnight. That needs a lot of planning, and it needs a lot of clever people thinking about how to resolve this challenge. Now, I'm not an engineer, and I'm not a technology person, but what I do understand is without the right management systems in place, all the engineering expertise and all the technology in the world isn't going to make us decarbonize our electricity sources. So we're working on renewable fuels, so the wind and solar and wave and geothermal. We're also working on biofuels. So you may or may not understand that out at the Werribee Processing Centre in the western suburbs of Melbourne, they're actually collecting biomatter and turning it into energy. But also in Victoria, and again around Australia, but in Victoria, in the Latrobe Valley, they are putting together a hydrogen hub. And we're going to make hydrogen from a variety of sources and ship it to Japan so that they can actually power their public transport bus fleet with hydrogen that is made in Australia from a wide variety of sources, including renewables. My students this semester, both in Singapore and in Melbourne, are working with the Future Fuels Cooperative Research Center to design management solutions, organization solutions, leadership, strategy, HRM, because if we don't get those particular management systems in place, the decarbonization journey will be slowed down. So it's a very exciting time. There's enormous amounts of jobs available in the energy sector for people who are managers, for people who are human resource managers, for people who can think creatively and laterally. And these are exactly the kind of cutting edge, leading issues of the day. If you want to do something about climate change, you can get into these organizations and drive change from within. And it's a very exciting opportunity.
And thanks, Carol. And
thanks,
working
Keith.
with some of the students on this particular topic, it's not just the regional politics that's involved in that. The government in driving Australia to, a much more environmentally friendly future wants our companies to bring local community along. So we've got to start to get people involved in things like the CSR, the corporate social responsibility aspects. Now, some of these skills, and I think that Lena mentioned this. Lena talked not so much about HR being a transactional function. It's more of how do we, if you take a look at a lot of the jobs today, a lot of the jobs are asking people to become learners. What does organizational learning mean? And what's the next generation of people who will lead our organizations so that they don't just stay stagnant, but seek continual sort of professional development so that organizations can continue to churn out new knowledge. And more importantly, we need the people who can understand new knowledge and the translation into the broader community when that occurs. Because if the Australian government tells companies to become carbon friendly or carbon neutral, what actually happens is they expect these companies to bring community along. So there's that expectation that we need people in organizations who can bring everybody inside and outside the organization along this journey. And that's some of the emphasis that you see Dr. Hein Kang and Dr. Lena Well Marco, Dr. Marco De Santis, referring to this morning. So we are equally as anxious as all of you, being very careful to scan the horizons for some of the things that would worry you. In other words, in 2-3 years' time, when you're ready to hit the job market, virtually we're looking for a situation where our industry partners who are closely working with us are there waiting for these students, because it's quite frankly the cheapest form of a recruitment exercise. You get students who are familiar already working with the industry problems. I don't know if Hein or Lina might want to add to what I've said.
Yeah, I think, Keith, you mentioned a great point about the need to be continuously improving. And I can't remember who said it. It was one of the politicians and saying, we must really change the school leaving age from 25 to 75, because essentially that learning never stops throughout your career. And I think, COVID and everything going on in the world just makes that even more obvious to every one of us. So I think HR and people and organizations and management and change, these kind of programs really enables people to taking that learning mindset and to deal with all the changing demands.
Yes, and I think Marco and I have quite a lot of very friendly interactions, because we're always talking about engineers and human resource functions in the organization. And I think it's a really good point. We need the human resource people to understand how engineering works. And that's one of the reasons why you're starting to see a lot of cross-disciplinary opportunities eventually opening up to, for example, our students being able to manage engineers. Okay, so increasingly, it's something like reaching out even to some of the students, looking out for opportunities to work with our students in Singapore. Now, I'm just monitoring the chat function. Now, there's a very good question about whether we can do what's something the equivalent to a grad certificate of human resource management. The question over here is whether we will eventually offer a grad diploma, for example. At the time being, we don't have that transition off point where a student does, for example, the first year and a second year. Not at the moment. We would encourage all of you to think about graduating with a major qualification. Because that is really where we're listening to some of the industry partners. We are actually looking for students to graduate and to get the full experience of that partnership over that period of time. So does anybody have any question for us, please? Okay, if not, please be reminded of the link we gave. We're very happy to take questions. If not, I'd like to thank all of you who are listening in this morning. We would like to look forward to seeing all of you on campus one day. So looking very positively into the future. I'd like to thank all the panelist members for coming in this morning, and also to thank all the people involved in the technical side of this. So we've got Vanessa, Craig, Anu, as well as Dashana, who've been very busy working in the background to make this sort of day open and to make this sort of day really accessible to all of us. We are very willing to answer questions. As I said, all of these panelists here are actively involved in talking about the discipline areas. We look forward to answering your questions and hopefully seeing you online or in campus. Very happy to keep on taking questions until the session finishes. In the meantime, Carol, Lina, Hein, Marco, if there's anything you'd like to add, please feel free to do so.
Sure, I'd be happy to have a go. So it's Dr. Carol Bond here, and I really would love to encourage you all to consider RMIT a part of your lifelong learning journey. Undertaking a Bachelor of Business with us, as we said, it's going to prepare you for the world of work. We know that RMIT graduates are highly sought after by firms in Melbourne and around Australia. RMIT has a very strong reputation and is number 4 in placing graduates in work upon graduation. We have dedicated job shop. We have a dedicated career counselors. We have people who will help you with your LinkedIn profile. Make sure you have a great professional photo taken so that you're ready to go. You also are going to have the opportunity throughout the degree programs of management and change, or people or organizations, or the HRM major, to develop what they call an e-portfolio, so an electronic portfolio. We're going to use a platform called Interfolio, which is a platform outside of RMIT, so you can take it with you when you go. But during the course of your degree program, you will be encouraged to gather artifacts or evidence throughout your degree program, so that when you do get to the world of work and you're like, oh, I took that course in my first year, and we had this really interesting work integrated learning experience and this really fascinating case study, and it was an authentic assessment, it wasn't an exam, but I could take that paper and I could go back there and say, oh, I can find it again. So you'll be able to pull what you need as you need. And as well, your portfolio is something you can share with prospective employers and show them what you have accomplished during your degree program, which no other university in Australia is doing. So that's unique to RMIT, this Interfolio system, that you can develop a portfolio of your accomplishments, and it's not just grades like I got straight high distinctions. No, you can say I actually worked on this business report for this business, and I could do this for your business as well. So thanks very much, Keith.
And that's an absolutely important point, because it's the same thing I tell all my students. You never walk into an interview empty-handed. And with something like an e-portfolio, what you do is you literally leave an impression with the people you're trying to impress. So you walk in with something, that portfolio, and you will be asked to think about your presentation during that prospective job interview, and so you start to accumulate the demonstration of learning from day one. So with that, it's a very good point. Wanted to thank all of you, and look, we wouldn't have been able to get all these points together were it not for the fact that we had management and HR experts in this room telling you about exactly the hiring process. Okay, so all in all, we just look forward to seeing you and being part of that journey. And if there's no other question, we sincerely wish you all the best in your choices, and look forward to seeing you if RMIT does become your choice, and we hope it does. Thanks very much, everybody.